Okay, so the question I've got is, how biblical is the word revival? And how useful is that word at all to any of us? How long ago was it? Like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, where revival was such an important word. It was like the promised mountaintop that we could get to if we pushed hard enough. Theologically, it's just completely off. And it's not just our interpretation. It was put into the songs, Martin Smith talking about revival town, and Matt Redman talking about send revival and start with me. It became this religious Christianese word. And I'm sure if I studied theology to a greater degree than what I did, I'd understand where it comes from in the Greek. There's the wake up, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, and Christ will shine upon you. That's been a verse that's always been incredibly important to me, that we can't be people that are asleep. We need to be awake. We need to be awake to God's presence, his action and who he is, and we need to be awake to what's around us. Obviously it's pretty negative to be asleep, but that sense and the response of and Christ will be with us or shine on us, that seems to be it is the response. But revival, that conjured up a bunch of very, very different promises. It wasn't about Christ shining in us or on us. It was about us having, a big knees up. Or it was about everyone being like us and becoming like us and joining us in our four walls. Revival wasn't a promise of a transformation. It seemed to be a promise of, sell a bunch of books, write a bunch of songs, and affirm our religiousness. So, I think making a video and just quickly talking about this is important, because it's coming back into the vernacular and publicly. Bible Society are talking about the quiet revival because young people are going back to church. Now, going to church or returning to church isn't a revival. If Christ shines in us or on us, and that becomes obvious, that's what revival is. It's not about church membership. Someone else has put a tenner in the plate, or bought a new CD, or signed up to the curry night. I don't think that's what revival is, and if it is, I'm kind of definitely out. So the reason I'm making these videos is because I want to process what just wasn't really very positive, but also just to say we can't repeat this stuff again. It's toxic, isn't it? That language is toxic. Revival, it's not down to me. I can't do anything about it. I'm not obedient to God to bring about revival. I'm obedient to God because that's what glorifies him. And, it made me think, when I was desperate to see what revival was, I would try and respond to what I thought God was saying all the time. And I remember being in Rumford by a subway near South Street and stopping someone because I thought I had a word for them. Whether I did or not, I'm not going to be cynical to suggest that there wasn't something in it. But they looked pretty bamboozled and walked away after 30 seconds. I'm not even sure they thanked me. And I'm not sure how I would deal with it if I was the recipient of a teenager saying to me that they thought God had a word for them. If it was accurate, it'd be pretty phenomenal. I don't know how many words I've had that have been that accurate from a complete stranger in a street. I don't know if I've had any at all. But that isn't revival, and I couldn't bring it about by thinking I had a word of knowledge for someone. That's not my job. My job is to be obedient, to glorify God, and so that Christ is glorified. Jesus is glorified. So this is a very super quick video just to kind of say, revival. Do we really want to start using that word again? I don't think so. This isn't a sprint. This life isn't a sprint. This has been, for me, it's been 30 years since I heard the word revival. It disappeared, and I think quite thankful for that. At least, you'd hear Revival Church of the biggest revival church, the bigger revivalist church, or whatever. But Pentecostal stuff, but it kind of, and maybe it's just because I've been out of it for a while, but it had been lost a little bit. But I'd see it come back, I thought, oh no. Yeah, it's a really attractive proposition. If I was young and returning to church, I would think, oh, that's exciting. I want to be part of this. But yeah, we could bring about revival. We've got a task. I'm a pretty task-orientated person. You know, wow, we've got something we can really kind of decide this is what we're going to do. The 24/7 stuff that sort of seemed to support that. Every bit of culture and individual that was putting a new thing together, whether it was an album or a prayer group, they needed something to all agree with, and I just don't think this is the right way of doing it. I think, you know, we're not here. Our job isn't to bring about a revival. Our job is to serve God day in, day out, which I'm not very good at. But I don't know, I'd love to hang out with some people who are. So yeah, revival. How much do we need it right now? And the word, or whatever it means, I'm not entirely convinced.